Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 192 of the Nope Coach podcast. Make it fuzzy so I don't have to do it. I'm your host, Suzanne Culberg, joined once again today by the birds on the windowsill. Someone was telling me on a recent episode that does come through the speakers and you can hear them. So welcome, birds. A client recently said to me on a session when we were doing what I call visioning. And shout out to one of my coaches, Joanna Lindenbaum, for that term. I've always had an aversion to goal setting. Goal setting to me feels, it's a word allergy. That may end up being a whole episode in and of itself. Anyway, back to the point. We were doing a visioning session, similar to goal setting, but different. No allergy needed. And I was helping her drill down on her vision. And she was being quite evasive. And the words that came out of her mouth was, I deliberately make it fuzzy so I don't have to do it. And I just love that. I was like, can I make that a podcast? And she's like, for sure. So no clients were harmed in the making of this podcast. I always ask consent. And I want to invite you to consider, where in your life do you do this? You make a goal kind of lofty, kind of ultimate one-day vision, so that it seems so majestical and far away that you don't even need to take a step today. I'm trying to think of, if you've ever been to like one of these big events, like rah-rah kind of things where, you know, you get all pumped up and you get all excited and you're like, yes, yes. And then you walk out the door and you're like, what do I do now? I swear that's an addiction, a destination addiction. You go from event to event, get pumped up, you get riled up, you get excited, you see $1 million you or multi-million dollar you, and then you leave and you're like, so what do I do now? And what do you do now? You buy another ticket to the next thing. And yeah, I think they deliberately make it fuzzy so that you don't have to do it, and they can resell you their next event. So with this client session, we looked at, ultimate vision, one day future self. Yes, we don't want to disregard that. We don't want to ignore that. We don't want to make that not a thing. But we also want to look at a smaller goal. I'm just trying to think of a term, a sub goal, or even a sub goal. So I'm trying to think of something. I should have thought of something ahead of time, but like, if ultimately one day you want to have a fleet of vehicles, not a goal of mine, but each their own. You might desire to own a fleet of vehicles, but right now you don't even know how to drive a car. You might want to start with, I'm going to learn how to drive a car to begin with, and then decide what sort of car you like to drive, automatic or manual. For those of you overseas, do you guys call them automatics and manuals? No, I think you guys call it stick, what we would call a manual. Anyway, I digress. Maybe your ultimate vision is a real estate portfolio. Am I even getting the words right on this? But you might start with, purchasing your first property. Like, sometimes we can get so far ahead and into the weeds and down the line that we don't even know which step to take. You might decide that you want to have, a top 0.1% global podcast, but you haven't even started recording yet. Like, do you need to purchase a microphone and some headphones and a ring light? Like, do you need to just get started? It's not saying to downplay or ignore this ultimate goal, but sometimes when we, that's all we have, as my client said, we make it fuzzy so that we don't have to do it. If you want to be a best-selling author of a series of equivalent to like Harry Potter or Bridgerton or something like that, you want to have, 7, 8 books in your series and be multi-international best-selling author, but you haven't even written a blog post. It's not saying that you can't do it, but it's saying, okay, this is the ultimate goal. This is the ultimate vision. What do I want to do? I like to choose 6 months. 6 months is somewhere for me personally where I can vision. It doesn't seem too far away, but also that I can't make it fuzzy so I don't have to do it. There needs to be a timeline and tangible steps. So for example, this podcast, when I created it, my first vision was to do a daily show for 100 days, which I did and achieved. Then I extended it to 365 days, and now I'm on day 192. And I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks or so, I've really questioned that decision, that vision, and I may yet choose to revision that. I might choose to not make it daily. I might go Monday to Friday, or I might go weekly. I don't know yet. But don't let the vision become a ball and chain. Don't let the vision become an anchor. It is a guiding post. It is a support beam, but not a ball and chain and not an anchor. And then when you choose, or if you choose to revision, and this is something that I'm going through myself personally, you get to decide, is it that it is time for a different vision, your priorities, your expectancies, your life has shifted, or is it that you're just in the messy middle? So this is day 192. My new revision, revision, love it, is to get to day 200. So I've got just over a week to go, and then I will reassess from there. So it's just making that goalpost so much shorter, because 365 is a long way from now, but I know that I can get to 200. That's just over a week. That's not that hard. So my invitation for you, what is your goal? You know, is it to release a series of books, buy a bunch of real estate, build your own house, own your own company? I don't know, so many visions come to mind. Have a family, have a partner, go back to school, study, whatever it is. And what are some sub goals, some micro visions, some smaller steps that you can take so that you can't let yourself off the hook by making it so fuzzy that you don't have to do it? And what timeline will you revision? Check in. Are you making progress in the way that you hoped? What's going well? What's not going well? What can you tweak so that you're not stuck dragging an anchor or a ball and chain, but you can keep taking the steps towards that ultimate vision? Because sometimes our ultimate vision changes. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I never thought I'd work for myself. Like originally, when I was a young child, I wanted to be a marine biologist. Then I wanted to be a doctor. I got to my 5.5 year of medical school. I had just over a year to go, and I left that. I wanted to be a personal trainer. Like I've had lots of visions and revisions along the way. This coaching gig, I don't know if I'll do this forever. Not forever, just for now. But, you know, how many versions of you get to iterate and reiterate by you taking these small steps and checking in? Is this in best service to me? Is this where I want to go? Does this feel good? Am I enjoying myself? Or is it time for a revision? And you get to decide that. It's not up to anybody else. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a very enjoyable episode. If you listen to the show a lot, I'd love to invite you to support it in some way. There is 3 ways that you can do it that I can think of off the top of my head. 2 are free, 1 is paid. First, you can leave me a review. So if you go to Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review. If you don't know how to do that, send me an email, info@suzanneculberg.com. I got you. I'll talk you through it. Second way, you could share the episodes that you enjoy. You could share them on socials. You could copy the link and send it to a friend. Include what you took from it, why you enjoyed it. Because I know a lot of us, we share stuff. If you don't want to tag me, then you don't need to. Someone said to me, I feel really uncomfortable, like I'm not doing the show justice. Honestly, any share is appreciated. And if you could put a sentence or 2 about why you enjoy listening to it, much more likely that your friends will tune in too. And finally, you could send me a donation. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the video description. If you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple, it's in the show description. Or if that's confusing, just go to my website, suzanneculberg.com, click on podcast, scroll down there. It has the link there for my PayPal, and you can send me a donation. Any donation is appreciated. It's not the amount of money. Some people are like, oh, I only sent $5. One lady's like, I only sent $1. It's not the only. It's that you take the time to send it, that you show your support. Like a lot of effort, time, energy, money goes into a show. So every donation, no matter how small, really is so much appreciated and goes towards me continuing to show up daily. So yeah, I really do appreciate any and all donations. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.